Well,
Hello.
hello. Well, you normally do this bit. You're
I know.
normally really good.
I've said to you, you do it this time.
Welcome to Coffee with Crones, and today we've got a special guest, the lovely Jane.
Hello.
And you'll notice that Aisha's missing, and that's sadly because she had to work and couldn't get the day off today. So it's just Cindy and I, and we've come to this amazing, wonderful place to chat to Jane.
And what I loved is when we walked in, Jane said, "Welcome to the Crome Cave." And I thought, we all need one of those
Yeah, we sure do.
for when we're in that
Yeah.
crony sort of feeling and just get away from everything.
It's really beautiful. So I'm steaming up. So we've travelled, haven't we, from Lancaster to St Anne's on the Sea.
On a lovely blue sky, sunny day.
Gorgeous day today. So welcome, Jane.
Thank you, Ruby. Thanks,
So we have
Cindy.
2 questions, don't we? Because we're Coffee with Crones. What is your favourite brew?
Oh, it's just ordinary tea. A nice cup of ordinary tea, that's what I drink most of.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Milk, sugar?
A little bit of milk, a little bit of sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second question.
So obviously we Coffee with Crones, and we've shared a little bit to our viewers of our own personal croning journeys, and just our journey of how we got to this place. And I think it's really important for women to share their journeys and experiences with each other. So just a little bit about you and what's brought you here.
Yeah, absolutely, Cindy, the importance of women sharing their journeys. And I think that really deepens, what that actually means deepens within all of us as we age. Not just sharing, supporting each other on our journeys. And I am here now really because of my dad. That it's been a few years of massive transition for all of us. A potted history of me as I started off in Liverpool, was led by my parents into choosing qualifications that would get me a safe job. Ended up in the civil service, got very depressed, found yoga, left the civil service, became a yoga teacher, Reiki healer, shamanic practitioner for a lot of years, and had some holistic rooms in St Anne's. So it was the civil service that brought me to St Anne's, and I knew right place, wrong job. Yeah, but the job taught me lots and lots of skills. So there's in everything that's hard, there's always the silver lining, always the lessons. And then in the pandemic, my business just went down the tubes. My mum passed away just before the pandemic, and my dad wanted to move up to be nearer than me. And he just kept saying to me, "This will be the best for you, this will be the best for you." And I'm thinking, how can this be? All the vision boards I've been doing for 20 years, never had a live with my dad in my 50s on, you know? Right. And then I started listening more. And Dad had never lived on his own. He'd gone straight from living with his parents to living with my mum, having his family. And you know, sometimes when your heart just aches for people, and you know you have to do the right thing. So we ended up in this amazing house. That we're just in one room obviously today, but it's got 2 floors below here that just look like the house I grew up in. So my dad's got all the home comforts, everything that he's used to. I'm fond of saying I live in the museum of my childhood. Right? And it's of a time where I'm really feeling the call of ancestral and collective trauma study, deepening into that. And a reason why this is called the Crome Cave is that as soon as I landed here, the idea was, because I lost the holistic rooms, I could start operating from here. And because of the pandemic, and we've not seen each other for a couple of years, a woman got in touch and said, "Can I come for a shamanic session?" And she was on the bed, I was drumming, and a crone appeared here. And when we just recently moved in, this is where I had my mum's sitting chair as well, where my mum sat in this chair to watch the TV every night. Emmerdale, Corrie, all the old favourites. And the crone appeared here, I'm drumming, lady on bed, and I asked, you know, are you here for this lady, or are you here for me? And she said, I'm here for all of you.
Just gone coldy.
I'm here for all of you.
Yeah.
And I'm still working through what that means, because it'll be 4 years in February, and I'm still going through transition. I think a lot of us are still going through a transition, trying to put a shape on things that will not allow any shape to be imposed upon them yet. So it's, you know, it's all very tenuous, but I have this wonderful connection, and I have groups of women in this room, and this is what we do. We share our stories, and we support each other as we navigate our way through the choppy waters of life.
Crondom.
Yeah.
What a journey.
What a journey.
What a journey. Yeah.
And everybody's got one. And this is the magic. So when I had the holistic healing rooms, it was very much yoga, meditation, chanting, Reiki, crystals, objects, things that we did. We connected to the energy, but we did things. And what I was told when I left those rooms, what I was told, you know, that telling, that when things just drop in and it's like, it doesn't sound like me, but who's saying that to me, was you don't need to be in a room, you don't need to call it Reiki. Having a chat and a cup of tea can be as healing as anything, you know. And I've landed in a neighbourhood, half the people in the street have a cancer or a dementia, or they're looking after parents, or the children are poorly. So I came out of a holistic healing bubble into what I now know, it's just life. It's just life for everybody. And we make those choices every day to uplift people and ourselves, or, you know, and best will in the world, we all have our ups and downs, don't we? But then we can ask for support. It's the giving and receiving all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I met you when you had the rooms, and this is a very different feeling from the rooms. Your space within the rooms was lovely and cosy and cocoon-like, but it was in a building that was it solicitors,
Accountants.
So it was like two different lifestyles, wasn't it? Apart. It was the weirdest thing that meshed together in some way. And now you're here. Does it feel like you've landed, like you finally landed, or am I just reading into that from an outsider's perspective?
What a great question. I love this, right? So I used to imagine it was like Narnia, because there was a connecting door between the accountants and the holistic rooms, right?
Energy-wise, yeah.
And the woman who, I have to tell these stories, the woman who owned the accountant side of it would say things like, don't burn incense, it doesn't smell professional. Right? And I'd be there with my incense and candles, like, oh, I'm so naughty. But as it turns out, so here's something interesting, because this is life is interesting. I used to run Goddess Invocation Days, and there was a small group of us in this room a couple of years ago, and we journeyed to the web. I was very much inspired by going to...
I do the whole web thing.
Yeah. Well, I went to I Am Witch at the Story in Lancaster a few years ago, and they had this beautiful web work. They had the hats, the crowns and the books, and I thought, oh, we all need to be doing this. And then I was journeying to the web so we could all find the threads that were really choking us and needed to come out to create space for the new threads that we wanted to weave in now. And we've done quite a few of these. And I just had one of those epiphany moments. It was like, I've been doing all this self-development for 20 years and I'm still stuck, right? I'm still skinned, I'm still fat, I'm still single, right? what am I doing? It's like I'm just treading water. So it really hit home that if I want to be different, I have to do things differently. And it coincided with me coming up to 55. I was in the civil service, so I knew I had an option to take a pension. So I went to seek some financial advice from a local man who runs his own wealth management company, and he had been my client for shamanic practitioners, yoga and meditation. And and we were friendly, got on okay. And he said, I'm not taking you on as a client because you've got no money, which is true. I'll share this with, hopefully not the world, don't watch this, Dad, but I've been in debt all my life, you know, from student debt, which is even huger now. I don't know how the younger generation are going to navigate through that. But I've lived my whole life in debt, which I hadn't even realised until I got out of it, how much that shaped my values of myself and how much it shaped what I allowed myself to do and participate in. Because I would never go out because I had no money, you know, I just stay in doing my prayers and my yoga. But if you miss it, you miss out on all that connecting with people and the real hard work, you know. So his business in the pandemic had gone up as mine had gone down. He needed some help with some admin. So I cheekily said, are you offering me a job? And he said, if you want one, yes. So I started working in finance, and he wants to build an organisation, and he said, you can have one of 3 roles. You can be an administrator, and that just makes me think of the civil service. And I'm sure there's lots of interesting administration jobs, but I didn't like the idea of that. So you can be a paraplanner. I still don't really know what that is, but it just makes me think of parachutes. Right? Well, you can be a financial advisor, and I thought, yeah, I'll be one of them. And so finance was one of my, obviously a big thread, and it's an ancestral thread. It goes back to my Irish roots, my family coming over here because of poverty, because they were starving, you know. I do ancestral work, and I just feel that struggle and that poverty. So I started training, and the exams are really hard. It's a whole new language, but I feel really dedicated to it. And when I started working for this man, he said something he says lots of interesting things. But the first one was, women generally outlive men, so they generally end up with all the money, but they don't know what to do with it because they've never had it, they've never been in control of it. Now, I know that's not true for everybody, because I do repeat this to the groups of women that I work with, and some of them are very much in charge of the finances. And even if women aren't totally in charge of the finances, if they haven't had the opportunity to go out and earn their own money, they're certainly in charge of the budget and making sure there's food and there's heating and there's clothes, you know. So I just think women are a lot cleverer than they think they are, because this is another thing, when you start talking about money to women, they all say, oh, I can't do it. And I'm similar, oh, some can't do it. We can do it. Yeah, it's just where you put your energy and what you apply your time to.
Yeah, there's little things that are going ping, ping, ping. And we say that because we know we're not supposed to. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to be clever. So I think sometimes we say things like, oh, silly me, and things like that, because it's a conditioning, like we're not supposed to be clever. Girls are not supposed to be clever. So although we know we are, and we know we're fully capable, we play ourselves down. And that's part of what I've all my life tried to sort of swim out of or swim against, I think. So listening to you speak, I'm sort of thinking that's what's resonating for me, is this thing that girls, you know, we're supposed to be pretty, we're supposed to be this, we're supposed to be that, we're supposed to be good cooks and all that, and we've conformed and we've pushed ourselves into, whether we're a square peg or a round peg or whatever, we've pushed ourselves into this what's expected of us. And we're never expected, or in the past we've never been expected to be clever. So we not only, some of us think we're not, but if we know we are, we even then downplay it to other people. Does that make sense? By saying, I think I could do it.
It does, and you know, it's triggered a thought, because I was listening and I'm thinking, come on Jane, I want you to rescue me when you're a financial advisor.
You saw my book.
Yeah, and I thought then, hang on a minute, that tunes into what you've said. We're conditioned from a young age to be rescued as women, as girls. The prince will come and rescue us in all these stories.
Yeah, Prince Charming will come and...
Or we'll win the lottery and that'll rescue us. Because I'm well in debt. I'm what you were saying, I was like, this was me. This is me. like my student loan's 56 grand. I
And
don't,
I'm sitting here
it's-
thinking, how blessed am I? I'm not,
Not in
in any debt, and I had a student loan many years ago, but paid it back within 3 years. I've never had debt. How lucky am I? But I've never seen that till I'm sitting here listening to that, and it's sort of pennies dropping. Oh my God, I don't owe anyone anything,
That's
not even a
amazing.
credit card.
It's a fabulous position to be in.
Yeah.
Really
And what
liberating.
freedom that allows me in making decisions and choices.
Yeah.
And I don't think I acknowledge that enough, maybe.
Yeah. Is it? I'm really in debt. Like on the outside, it looks like I'm not because I live such a lovely life, but I am. I'm well in debt, and it's through. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it's through no fault of my own, but that's a complete lie. It is. It's because I do things like go on holiday, and I like eating out, and I like combined with stuff like the dog dying, and that was £2 grand on a vet bill, and the car breaking, so we had to get a new car. It's not all because I'm just ridiculous and spending it all, and I don't spend like in excess. It just feels like the amount of effort that I put into doing stuff, there should be some kind of little reward at the end of it. So this is interesting. Anyway, carry on, Jane.
It is interesting, and this is where we get all our main stuff from, you know, inspiration, all the little bits we bring together now. This is where we're really learning. It's not in the books anymore, it's all in our hearts, our bodies, our brains. Because I'm answering your question about the seeming disparity between living in an accountancy building and running some holistic rooms, and what this finance role has helped me to understand. So for nearly 20 years as a yoga teacher and holistic practitioner, and people will be listening to this who are in the same position as all of us, there's something very insidious about that sector. It's a business sector. We want to make a living at it, but people think we should do it for free. It's not valued as much as some of the other jobs, you know, the creativity, the arts and the holistic healing. So not only is it difficult to make a decent living, it's also challenging to feel that you're worth the money that you're earning, and you feel you have to justify that to people, why you're charging it, you know. And I realised when I was in the rooms, I hadn't put my prices up for 16 years. So no wonder my debts were not going away. And I still felt guilty. I was doing loads of free, you know, I was running cancer support groups for free. And I was having a knock-on effect on other people because I was asking for volunteers who would gladly work for free, but I got fed up of doing that to all of us, so I knew I needed to do things differently. So coming into this now, I realise how finances is at the very foundations of everything for me. I love that I do not have to put financial pressure on my shamanic practices and my yoga practices. I charge an amount or offer alternative exchanges, but I don't have to pay my rent with that anymore. I don't have to pay my bills with it. And there's nothing worse when you feel you're in service to spirit and you're counting all the people on the yoga mats because you know you haven't even covered the room hire.
Yeah.
You know, that's not right. And I do feel, I know I'm in transition still at the moment, but at some point, something is going to come together for me to help women out of this situation, because not only have women perhaps not been expected to be clever, they weren't given the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, if there was money in the family, the boys got it, the boys went to school, and the women got taught how to cook and clean and mend and sew. Again, a bit of a sweeping generalisation, because when you start to look in history, again, the man that I work for now, or with, I prefer, I said to him, I've just got a new tarot deck, Women in Science. And he said, I didn't know there was any women in science. Exactly. because women have been silenced and they've been made invisible. Yeah. And they're all coming out now, and I'm not, I wanted to just make this point as well, is that it's not a kind of women, let's take over the world thing. What we're seeing repeatedly is how the disharmony how the imbalance between male and female energy actually negatively impacts both sexes. So the men are struggling because they can't have the support of the women, and the women are battered because the men, you know, don't like what they can bring. Whereas if we had that equality and support and got over gender roles, everybody could flourish. That's what I'm really feeling. That's the messages that are really coming through for me at the moment, that we do it together. Well, and my shamanic teacher years ago said the biggest war, the biggest fight there has ever been is the fight between men and women. Yeah, how sad is that? When we love each other so much.
Yeah. I feel the same. I feel like men have been in charge of loads of stuff for all that time, and then women have started to come up. I think a few years ago I was noting this a lot, and it was a lot of man bashing. And then I thought, hang on, there are good men in the world doing good things, just as there are good women in the world. And I think there needs to be that balance, that equality, to bring both, because we've got both in us, haven't we? The masculine and the feminine. We need that in our life as well. You can't have one without the other.
You can't. Not on this earth. We need both to balance. Yeah.
So going back then, coming here, does that feel different now then? Because you was in that, is it juxtaposition, where it's like you've got the two worlds, you've got your Narnia and you've got your thing, but now actually you've taken on the financial in your own life, but you're still doing your health. Does that feel different now? Do you feel more empowered now?
I feel stronger in many ways, and it has, I've been able, because I have more resources, because I have better finance, and we were touching on this when we were settling down, I can look after myself better, and I can look after the people that I love better, and I can just do more things. And this is perhaps going to touch you as well, because there is that, even when I was still in debt, I was thinking, what a shame that I haven't got lots of money, because I do really good things with it. So why haven't I got lots of money? Why am I working every day, every weekend, and I'm not seeing my debts going down? What is this? And this idea of having to do things differently, making different choices, what the universe presented me with was, interestingly enough, a dad saying, I'm going to come and live with you and this will be the best for you, and a kind of boss figure saying, you can learn about finances and study, and I'll support you in that. So I thought, this is too interesting. I haven't really thought this much through. I haven't spoken about it, but there's this two strong male presences in my life now as the finances are coming in as well. And I see my dad sits every month and he goes through his statements and checks everything off. I've never done that in my life, And as a self-employed woman, small business owner, what did start to happen when I was living with the accountants was I was getting my tax returns in on time, Oh, the joy of that, rather than leaving it till the last minute. So it's these messages, because all of this, if we don't attend to it, it's so stressful. And as we get older and we're going through the menopause, your anxiety can be off the charts. So you have to put your time into doing the things that make you feel as good as possible. And that, yuckily enough, is doing your admin, doing your budget, doing all the really yawny things, but you feel great. You don't have to worry. You're not stressing about it. And then your head is freed up. We're talking about what you give your energy to. I'm not worrying about have I done my accounts, because I know I've done them. I'm not worrying about can I afford to pay it, because I've done my budget and I know what money's coming in. I'm not worried like I used to be. So there's a great sense of security in my life now that never was there in all the years I was renting and kind of running my own business. You look back, don't you, and think, how did I do that for all those years, all that worry? and all that struggle. But on the surface, probably looked like I was having the best time ever.
Yeah.
Especially with Facebook, you know, I'd have
Yeah.
friends saying, "Oh, you're just living the dream." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Yeah,
It's a bit
everything's
scary
fine.
though.
Yeah.
It's a little bit scary.
Let's polish the turd.
You know?
But that I did as well. I found I'm a very creative person. I put on a good show at times, you know.
Yeah.
And certainly in the first 3 to 5 years of running my own businesses, because before I came here I had my own private school, so that's my background. I was just trained in education and that. Same thing. Accounts are due and you'd be scrambling till God knows what time in the morning to get it all done. And only, I think, over the last 5 years have I disciplined myself. At the end of every month, I do everything for that month. Then it's all data captured, ready. And the account gets my books, literally, end of March. I do them and it all goes through and it's done. And he only needs them in the October. And he goes, "Oh, what's this for? I'm just giving it to you." Then it's, I know you've got it. I don't have to do anything with it. And it's made a big difference. That, oh, the accounts are due. My books are due. Because I basically data capture everything and then hand it over to an accountant to do what he needs to do and fill in the forms. Because I'm not good with forms. My neurodivergence doesn't allow for forms. I get too stressed with it. And now I pay someone to do that.
Oh,
And
I'm
it's
feeling
such a
very insecure here.
It's such a relief. I've got a template. I know what goes in must go out, what goes out must come in. You just fill it in. It's as simple as that. 1 day a month, I sit, I do all my cash receipts, you know, what came in cash and what came in on card, and what category it is, so I know what's going on with my stock and what's selling and what's not. Do that, and I do what I've spent, what's come in. Simple. And it takes a weight off your shoulders when you've done that.
I think I need a different man to come in my life then, alongside Tom. I
Well,
don't want to get rid of Tom.
It doesn't take a little man for me, but
I've got a box like
it
this,
is a masculine thing.
and I just post my receipts in it, and then I don't look at them until like the end, like the week before they're due in January.
But
I
can you cope with that though? Because if you feel okay with it, it's fine. It's only if you're terrorising yourself with it that you perhaps need a different approach.
No, I just shove it in there and forget about it until that week.
So if it's your way, then it's great.
What Cindy was saying about every 1 day a month doing that terrorises me, because I think, oh my good lord, I can't think of anything worse. Like spending a day on sorting my stuff out.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why I'm broke, because I don't do that.
It does allow me to better budget and to better see. If I know I've had a really good month and I see what's been selling, I can better stock the shop. I can see trends. I can also, you've done it, while things are still current, you're processing them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of like a year later, you think, what's that receipt for?
Yeah.
What was that receipt about? And then it's all faded. You can't read somebody's still slip anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's why it makes it easier, because it's current. And I know last month I had a good month. This month I can just ease off and be a bit easier with myself. Or last month wasn't that great, which it wasn't because I wasn't open very much. Now this month I've got to really step on things, and so it does help me. It definitely does help me.
I get that. I think so this is how my month goes.
We never thought we'd be talking about
No, we
finance.
didn't. What's he done to me, Jane? For the first week, when all the bills are paid and the rent's gone out, I go, oh, everything's paid. So for that week, I'm all right, easy. Week 2, easy, starting to think, oh. And then week 3 and 4, I think, oh my God, I need to do something now to get the money coming in to pay the bills for next month. That's what mine's like. I haven't done this thing where I go, oh, this has been a good month, so it's like I can't budget for stuff. What comes in goes out. And then I go, it's fine, money flows. It flows in and it flows out. And that's what I tell myself.
I like the dancing there. Well, there's loads of really, really interesting and good stuff coming up here. And Cindy, I want to go back to a couple of things that you've said. And 3 key words. I disciplined myself, right? So as we get older, that is really key, you know, and it's a real struggle. Because it's lovely, you know, I love having a lie in, reading books. I used to love sitting on the couch watching Netflix, drinking wine. Great, really happy, but was I actually changing my life and creating the life that I felt I wanted to live? No, I was not. So we have to discipline ourselves to do the things that make sense to us. But the other thing was about knowing your strengths, you know. So, you know, there are things that you're brilliant at and you do them. There are things that you can't go near, so you make sure you've got enough to pay other people and value the service that they do.
Yeah.
So that's a lovely balance. And you, Ruby, as well, understanding yourself. There's no point in trying to be somebody you're not, but there might be ways of working that actually better suit you. And there's things that I'm doing now that I'm just I feel I'm
we
so
can trade.
grown
I'll
up.
do you one day a month, and you can do my socials or my website.
Excellent.
Because I'm quite good once I've got a template and I know what I'm doing. I'm really good at doing it, and I'm quite disciplined at doing it.
Oh, I'm rubbish. Tom's made me templates. He's made me so many spreadsheets. This makes it easier. Just pop this in. They don't get
It's not
filled
for
in.
you.
I just don't do it.
You do my website, I'll do yours. Deal. That's how it should be.
It's exchanging. And you know, making sure you have what you need to flourish and grow as a person. That's the main thing of it all. And so with this focus on finances in my life at the moment, I've still got so much to learn, but I do giggle thinking, oh, I'm getting really grown up, because I've started paying into another pension. I've started paying into an ISA, and it's not much, but it's making these things a priority for yourself. That I do need these things. I do want to feel. I can't leave it to chance that when I get to 67, everybody knows. Well, if you look into this stuff, you will know your state pension will not support you with the quality of life you're probably going to want to live. And I'm learning all this stuff that's so interesting and useful. I've used that interesting word quite a lot, but I do find it all really fascinating. And I've got friends who are like, oh, how can you possibly want to do that? Because it's really interesting for me at the moment. So capitalise on it, learn what I can, and then see where I go, offering that information to other people. But I know when I had the holistic rooms and I was very connected to lots of other therapists, not very many people were putting money into a pension or emergency funds to have things that financial security there for yourself when you need it. And it's just changing your mindset. And one of the things I know we did talk about, that we might talk about when we had this talk, was vibration, and it comes back to ancestral and collective trauma. You know, the messages that you grew up with, there's never enough, it was really hard, it was a real struggle. Let's keep breaking those, and you can do that with drumming, with chanting, you know, and allow, because it feels, you know, we're talking about it now and it's like, I can't do that, I haven't got the discipline, it doesn't work, I've tried it before, because there's deep rooted stuff. So when you start to work with vibration and shifting your inner, it's in all your cells, so you wriggle that all out, and then all of a sudden you don't even have to think about whether you can do it or not, because you just want to do it. Oh my God, why wouldn't I just do this for myself? It's so easy.
We're talking about the importance of movement on the way here, and how as you get older, the less you sort of do that kind of movement, and how really important it is for you.
Yeah.
It is,
It's the
and
thing.
well, that's one kind of movement, but it's the real subtle intracellular movement that I get through drumming and chanting. They're my two major practices, and the chanting particularly. So, when I started my yoga journey, 2004 was the big year for me. These 20 years, 80 years. It's interesting, all these interweaving patterns with their cycles. It's all about cycles, isn't it? You know, there's cycles within cycles. Which is why it doesn't make sense to sweat stuff too much at times, because you just know it's all a bit hard, everyone's struggling. Do the best you can, look after yourself, look after the people around you. It will lift, because it always does, and then it'll probably plummet down again, because it always does, but we're still here making the best of it. So in 2004 I started chanting with a great man called Mus Murray, and he's in Portugal now. He's got on Facebook, his spiritual name is Ramana Baba, and I went to India with this gang. There was 17 of us on spiritual pilgrimage, and it was life-changing, because these things are life-changing, and from that point mantra became one of my key practices. And the power, I've tried so many, everything. We try everything because we love it, don't we? Once we get into these little spiritual flows, it's like, oh, God, give me more. I can't have enough of spiritual stuff, you know. But the mantra I come back to again and again and again. And even I just have a small group, 2 or 3 people, we chant every week, and it's just incredible.
Do you do that? Because I always say mantra saved my life. So I have a pain body that can be quite severe at times. And I chant through the night on those nights or whatever. And I've used mantra to really zone out of pain and save me from. So I always say mantra has saved my life. But I've never practiced. I've taught mantra. I teach mantra and meditation. But I've never practiced in a group situation. So that would be really, because that makes it that much more.
It's incredible. You just get lost in it. You lose any sense of yourself, and we're just sound. And then with the drumming and the shamanic work as well, I was invited by the British Wheel of Yoga local group to teach a mantra session at the church in Lytham a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, I can't just do the Sanskrit mantras now. I need to do the drumming. And there's a fabulous song, Savage Daughter. Which
I love it.
So we're in this main body of the church by the altar space, 30 women drumming.
Wow.
I am my mother's savage daughter. And I thought, this is it. This is the pinnacle. This is everything. This is it, and this is again, we're coming back to women sharing their stories. So I started these medicine wheel singing circles for that reason, for women to start getting used to their voices, to stop trying to sound like anybody else, to stop trying to make a nice tune, just growl it out if you need to, but find your voice and then start to listen to what it is your body needs to say, you know, and how it needs to say it. So we have these lovely circles where there is some singing, some drumming, take my guitar as well, but there's also sharing. And we all have, this theme, we come back to themes in life again, we all go through certain rites of passage, we all have certain things that we're all coping with, but we all have our own way of expressing that, of telling the story, and we all have our own way of experiencing it as well, that needs the space that it needs. Yeah.
I love that. And as a side note, you both probably know this, but I don't know if you know this, but our vocal cords are the same as our yonis in the shape and the way that they open. So if we've got restricted in our voices, like it restricts us in other, and the same if you're not orgasming, you're restricting. So I always find that it's just lovely to do both at the same time. Oh! But it's that freedom, isn't it, of being heard and taking up the space, I suppose, as a woman to allow our voice to come out.
And allowing our natural, organic sound to come out. because what I find interesting with you, you were alluding to it as well, is I've attended some singing circles run by beautiful young women with beautiful singing voices, but they're not a woman's singing circle because women are still singing in a fashion that they think they're supposed, how they think they're supposed to sound like. And again, it's this whole conditioning we have that our voices are supposed to be sweet and angelic. Fuck that for a bad idea. We aren't. We can produce the most organic, earthy sounds and that. And where's the room for allowing that in a woman's circle, where the host is singing so beautifully and really she's just wanting you to hear her voice. So I've been to some singing circles where I've been frustrated and disappointed because the host hasn't allowed women to really open up, as you say, and express that inner voice, that shadow part, that whatever it is that wants to come out. And you've mentioned the word, I like to pick up also on words and things. You've said transition, and I feel like I'm going through an immense change and that I'm getting confirmation all over. That something really deep, dark and dirty is going to come out, and it's very grounded, it's very earthy, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the next few years, but it's certainly not what I'm doing now as well. It's something very deep rooted and connected, and feels like it's very, if you look at a lotus, the lotus is sitting beautifully on the surface of a pond, but there's that long root that goes down into the mud, and I feel like I've been a little bit of the lotus for a while, and singing and chanting and mantraing and being that and being seen and heard, and for me it feels like, it really feels like I need to go dive down, follow that root and go really under the muck in the pond scum and see what's sitting there, because it really feels like there's something big, ancestral stuff. Sorry for swearing.
No, it's great. I love we're coming back to the Crone, goosebump affirmation going on here, and we're coming back to the Crome Cave, the reason why we're here, the Crone chats, coffee with Crones, because every woman is on her own journey, and I really feel. I remember me as a young woman, I would take advice off no one, so I understand that. I absolutely understand that. But I feel as a crone, I can make myself available to young women and men, and anybody in between, or who hear the calling, who need the support and can be open to it. I don't have children, so I don't have a lot of experience with supporting younger people. I've had younger people in my life, and I like to think I've offered some. I hope to. We know we don't need to be in person with people when we work with energy either, but by being the women we are, at the age we are, honouring ourselves, honouring our bodies, honouring our sounds, just that alone, at some point will drop in for the younger people, and they'll, do you remember that woman who did that really crazy thing? Well, I get it now, So, and again, we'll remember times as younger women when we would look at the older women thinking, how dreadful. I was thinking, because this was coming about today, I've just got this really strong image of my mum plucking her hair out in the kitchen decades ago, and I'm thinking, oh mother, how awful. I may have ended this with chin. But of course it comes to us all, we bristle and bulge and and it's great because along with all of that, we grow into ourselves and we take no nonsense. I used to be the squashed woman that wouldn't argue, that wouldn't stand up to myself, that wanted to keep the peace and please people. I will argue with anybody now. For meaning, not just to be an arsey, but when there's something wrong, I will not stand down. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not lower my voice. It needs to be heard, but I'm also learning, back to the finance job again, that there's ways of being heard. People won't listen to if you're shouting, screaming banshee. They'll just, probably sideline you and not go near you again. But if you can consistently point out, unfairness, injustice, inaccuracies, everybody makes rules. This is what I've realised in this finance world. Everybody's making the rules, and we can make our own rules, and we can challenge everybody else's rules. So this is where we come back to perhaps a little bit more structure in life than I've had for the past 20 years. I'm fond of saying I've just rolled around on a yoga mat for 20 years, so I've had some lovely, blissful, peaceful times. But I have said to the universe, I'm ready to do my part now. I'm going to learn the rules again from where we are now, and I'm going to support people, whoever is there to hear it. I'm sure I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie, Miss Marple,
Me too.
and I'm heading down to that. I'll just look like some cute old lady at some point that young women and men will go, they'll forget that we've all had a life, we've all been interesting and powerful and all of that. But there's ways of working behind the scenes to make sure the people who need it get what they need now, and that's where I feel this is heading for me. And similar to you, the way I'm running these, I don't even like to call them singing groups, because singing, it comes out of our mouths, but it's not really like singing. It's what I'm offering them, and I tell them that I'm offering them this because I've stood on stages crippled with lack of confidence, thinking, why am I doing this? Because the singing, using my voice, was such a strong calling for me, but it's been such a challenge. And now I can make noises wherever without any fear of no anxiety, no stage fright or anything like that. It doesn't matter if I forget words, it doesn't matter if a note comes out and it's off key, it doesn't matter if I play the guitar and it sounds rubbish, because we're just being people together and we're just sharing what we're here to share. And that's what I offer to all the women that are starting to connect into this. Just find yourself in this, and I can hear, do that, don't we? Oh, I've done a wrong thing. And it's like, get a drum, hit your drum. But I've had no lessons. I've not been taught to hit a drum. It doesn't matter. Just hit that drum. Boom, So this is all the conditioning, and it's there. It's visceral. We can feel it. And I'm still working to release blocks here. You were saying if everything's tight, we can feel it. Jaws, heads, stomachs, that is all. Your internal sense of yourself is your best indicator of where you need to go to find your freedom.
Yeah, it definitely is. So as we kind of wrap up, it's been amazing, and it's gone off in so many ways, and we could sit here for hours talking to you, because it's just fascinating. If you've got one piece of, not necessarily advice, but a bit of wisdom that you've learnt then over this unfolding, what would that be?
Gosh, one piece of advice. You see, this is the thing, isn't it? Don't listen to advice.
No,
don't listen to advice. Trust yourself.
A bit of wisdom, Jane.
Yeah, a bit of wisdom. It is to trust yourself. It is that whatever you're feeling inside. So this probably isn't going to be succinct. I hope you didn't want succinct wisdom. That the seeds of all that you are already planted, and they're all scattered through your ancestral lineage as well, and you will grow into exactly what you were meant to be in the timing as well. So the whole of your life is the purpose of your life. Every little part of it is the purpose of your life. There isn't going to be one great big climactic moment every day. Brushing your teeth, that is your purpose. Making some toast, that is your purpose, you know.
I
Having a
love
big
that.
paddy, that is your purpose, because when you have that paddy, that it gives somebody else something as well. When you do that lovely thing, and we're all connected. We're all connected in that flow. So everything, you are an integral being in all that flow and energy of the universe, and you are always doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. And when you're not on this planet anymore, you'll still be doing exactly what you're meant to be doing.
I love
Yeah.
My
that.
grandmother used to say, trust life, you're always doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing at every given moment. No matter what, whether it's positive or negative or perceived
Yeah.
as, you're always doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And when you look at things like that, you think, well, where's the worry then? Then why are we worried?
Yeah.
And you put it in a different way, but it's the same thing. We're all doing exactly what we're meant to be doing at every given moment. So what's the concern? We're all grabbing for this, that, and no, just be there.
Yeah.
And that all comes into being present, being in the moment, and just enjoying what's right there, right now. And when we're there, everything's perfect.
I love that. I loved when you were speaking as well, that vision of, in my head, my life's purpose is somewhere and I've not found it yet, and I've got to get to that thing to achieve that thing. And it's like I'm always pushing forward to get to that thing. And actually it made me quite emotional, and then I remembered I got makeup on, so I was like, don't cry. That actually it's all that. There isn't this thing that I've got to go and get. I've got to go and find. I've got to go and be.
You
It
are
is
it
that.
already.
Yeah.
You are it already.
Yeah.
All the magic you've done in your life.
You the
really,
puzzle
Kate.
piece. You are a unique piece of the puzzle, and we all fit together as unique pieces. We don't have to be anything else but ourselves. And there's such a beauty and peace and grace in that moment when you realise, shit,
It
This
feels
is
like
it.
a
This
relief.
is it.
this is it.
Like
Yeah.
I've just had a massive feeling of relief. Oh my
This
gosh.
is it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything else. And with magic, I always say, just be magic. The fact that you open your eyes, that you breathe, your heart beats, that every morning you are here. That's the magic.
That
So
is
just
the
be the magic. And this is what I want people to understand. It's not controlling the winds. Yes, that's nice. And we can do it to a certain extent because we're all connected, blah, blah, blah. But this bag of flesh and bones is animated by what? A spark, and that's the magic. It's as simple as that we are magic, and we are a little unique spark of magic. And when I hold your hand, we're connected, but we're all connected through this ethery stuff anyway.
It's amazing. On the way here, I said to Cindy, because Cindy's not met Jane before, I said, oh, you'll love Jane. I said, she's full of wisdom and she comes out with some really good stuff. Like, you'll love her. And now I feel like I'm going again and going, oh, there's loads of good stuff. And then when we're editing this later on, we'll be like, oh, that was a good bit too. Oh, it's been amazing, Jane.
I think I would
loved
love
it,
to
thank
end
you.
with some mantra or some drumming.
Well,
About
I did hope to share something with
Thank
you.
you.
I've got 2 drums, Ruby, but you can have a
Oh, Ruby can have a drum. I'm happy for you to have a drum.
seed pod. You have a seed pod.
I was really making
Do you want a drum?
No, it's alright, I'll see you pod it up. Are we standing or sitting?
What do you want to do?
What do you feel like? Stand.
Stand.
Right. Yep.
I know. And then sort of just really shaking it. You do that because I'll probably dance.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you want that?
gosh, shaky baby. We did a
Oh, it's
drumming
attached.
circle, Ruby and I.
It is attached.
We did a drumming circle.
Yeah, it's funny, it was Janet at Angela Turner-Jones's place in Cleveland.
I know they came. I know she came to the Little Centre Farm, but I've not
Oh,
seen
yeah,
her since
yeah.
21.
Yeah,
That was
it's a long time, isn't
3
it?
years.
Right, are you in there, Jane? Yep. I'm going to have to just catch up because I was just I was watching you before.
Okay, do you want me to say anything? Do you want me to introduce it? Just
No, no.
Yeah, would anybody?
Whatever you want. Do you want to introduce it? Okay.
Not particularly. Yeah, we'll just go. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are coming back. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are coming back. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back to the water. The women are coming back. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back to the earth. The men are coming back. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are dancing round the fire. The women and men are coming back. The women and men are coming back. The women and men are coming back. Whoa! Excellent. Excellent.
That's lovely,
Nice to
Jane.
be out with you.
Yay! That was
Come
lovely.
on, bring it in. Oh,
I
that
knew
was
you'd
lovely,
love it.
absolutely lovely.